Welcome to BAM, Badass Moms with Lori and Jenny. We are moms on a mission to share women's stories about life, fitness, aging, relationships, travel, and much more. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of BAM, Badass Moms with Lori and Jenny. Take a moment and imagine being a rock star in your early 20s, then transitioning into business school and eventually becoming a mom while still keeping your love for music alive. Sounds pretty amazing, right? Well, today we are so excited to introduce you to Lizzie, a remarkable woman who's done just that. She's a stay-at-home mom by day and a rock star by night. She's a multi-talented woman who's found the perfect harmony between motherhood and music. And Lizzie, we are so excited to have you join us on our show today.
Hi, Lizzie. So nice to meet you, and thanks for joining us. So it sounds like you and Lori met each other through a mutual friend. Is that correct?
Yeah, okay. A circuit of moms on the block here.
Yeah, perfect. We all need each other, that is for sure. So Lizzie sent us a little bio, and it's fascinating. So I wanted to just kind of get started, just get right into your bio if you don't mind. But so Lizzie's a rock star. Of course, I like to think I'm a rock star, but you're legit rock star. But your background is so fascinating because you started out at like Stanford.
Yeah, I've kind of been doing music my whole life. My parents are super supportive in that interest, and I started playing in bands around like 13 and running concert series in my high school, and then eventually, going to Stanford, running concert series there, and trying to make it big in the original band scene.
Yeah.
I had a girl band that I started, and we would just tour up and down California. Really fun, Sunset Strip, up to the Bay Area. And
So what sparked your interest in music? Did you grow up in a background of like musicians? Were your parents into music? Like, where did that love really come from?
Not at all. All my siblings all had very different interests. My oldest brother was into the tech. My middle brother was into sports, and then somehow I was drawn to music. And my poor parents, couldn't use any hand-me-downs because we're all so unique.
Yeah.
But they supported each of us in each of our interests, and it's kind of what I want to do too to my kids. Just be open-minded and let them kind of discover themselves and support it. And so I look to my parents' parenting style for that.
That's awesome.
Choose your own path.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So you continued like the concert stuff at school, but what was your degree in?
Communication.
She got a puppy. She just showed us that she's got this adorable Bernese Mountain Dog puppy. So you might hear a little bit of Gus in the background.
Right. So, I mean, what badass mom doesn't have a puppy, right? Or a dog?
Kids, and then we're like, let's get a new baby.
Yeah, totally. Well, and I'm obsessed with dogs. So yeah, you've come to the right place.
But before we go down, I want to go back to, before we go down kind of your education path, I'm still intrigued. Was there a band, or was there what was that like? I want to be a rock star as a kid. Was it the singing? Was it did you play instruments or?
I grew up with two older brothers. They're 8 and 10 years older. They exposed me to the 80s hair metal scene.
Oh yes, that's my favorite.
The Motley Crue, the Van Halen, and I'm watching these guys on stage just being wild, and I was like, this looks so much fun. And then weirdly, my oldest brother took me to Barnes & Noble once. We were waiting for a movie to start. You know how Barnes & Noble used to have the headphones where you can type in a random number and sample a CD?
Yeah.
He randomly was, being a jerk and randomly just tapped my pad randomly. And a random CD popped up and it was Sheryl Crow. And I was like, that's when the music part hit me. I was like, this is awesome. This sounds really cool. And the next day I told my mom I wanted to play guitar because I wanted to sing like Sheryl Crow. Oh. And being the supportive mom she just, let's go get in the car. Let's go to the music shop. And I bought a guitar. And then they sent me off to, I want to say band camp because there's went to band camp. But I did. I went to rock band camp basically. And that allowed me to meet other musicians and start bands and just for the week and you hook up with a drummer and a bassist and you make your little band in the camp. And that's kind of what School of Rock is now. We didn't have it back when I was younger.
Yeah.
That's why I encourage a lot of parents to have kids that are interested in music and maybe they don't know much about it, is to kind of look for those kind of programs where the kids can sync up with other kids and kind of form their bands and start that community.
There's a couple of kids from our neighborhood that have done something similar. And one of them, the mom is a musician. So yeah, I've heard really good things about it. But when my kids were little, there was a movie called Camp Rock. I don't know if you've seen it.
It sounds really familiar. Yeah.
But I think it was like Demi Lovato or whatever. But they were obsessed with it. But all these kids go to camp and then they all learn how to play music together. It's super cute.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing too is like, even though my parents were into music, like they still were open to it. And I think too, in addition to music, I kind of call myself more of like a performer, like all round. So I'm not like a crazy good guitarist, but I can.
But you can do it all, right?
Crowd's attention. I enjoy being on stage. I enjoy designing a stage. I enjoy marketing a band. I like the bigger picture stuff, not just the listen to my guitar. Listen to my voice. I want to make an experience for people, and I've always kind of been that loud kid that's an entertainer. I was voting class clown, and I was voted most likely to host late night television. Like I'm just that loud personality, and that's kind of more than just the musician part of it.
So do you think it was harder or easier than you thought to really put a band together, to really get it all organized? Because I think there's so many, I say kids, but younger people out there that want to be a rock star, want to be in a band, want to put that all together. But I think it's like anything, it's overwhelming, and it sounds like your parents were very supportive and gave you the opportunity to go to quote unquote band camp, rock band camp. But for those that have that passion and drive, like where do they even start, do you think?
Yeah, finding the members. Find the passion yourself first. Try to write a song. So much is available on YouTube to learn how to play guitar now. It's really accessible. I think you don't have to go to a teacher right away if you're just kind of noodling with the idea.
Yeah,
noodle's a good guitar term. Then. It's finding those members, but again, you got social media now, so you can find other groups and find these members, and that's why I suggest the rock, the rock School of Rock stuff. And then I guess too, find your kind of path. Do you want to be an original artist? Do you want to record? Do you want to write? Do you want to try to make it big there? Which I still write my own original songs every now and then.
Yeah,
I found though, if you want to just make a quicker living out of it, the tribute cover scenes. The demand's already there for the music. People know they love the music, and you just bring the show to them. That made it, I think, us able to sort of grow a lot faster. We pick the 90s and we do it really well. We look 90s, we dress it. Our stage is covered in 90s Nickelodeon nostalgia sign, and the aggro crag from Guts and Furby and Reptar cereal. I want you to look at our stage and think the 90s just threw up on it.
Right. I'm guessing you have a following too, right? Do you have the same people that come to all the shows?
That's really, it means a lot when I hear people say, oh, we saw you here and now we brought our friends to here. And it means a lot. I'm really touching these people, and they're getting nostalgic for their childhood, and we're helping them do that. And then with our music too, we try to nail it pretty accurate, I got a guy singer, we got a girl singer, so we can switch on and off. We do all the genres, hip hop to pop, Backstreet Boys to Nirvana to, the Lion King theme song.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's kind of, we're talking about being a mom too. I'm just living my childhood again, and it makes me want to, make sure my kids have a nostalgic childhood too. So be aware of what pop culture is to them now. And luckily, the 90s is coming back right now. So you go to the store and you look at the clothes. The spaghetti strap skirt with a T-shirt under it is like the popular thing right now. And that was
it's all full circle, right? Like it really does. From I feel like kids' cartoons to music. I feel like it's like what was really popular when we were young is just now coming back. For kids to enjoy.
They call it the 30-year cycle. It's every 30 years. The adults start to get nostalgic for their childhood. And I remember in the 90s, the 60s were coming back. It was like tie-dye and peace signs and the smiley face. Like that all came back. So it's just all one big cycle.
Well, and I know like the Rock Band t-shirts, like you can get them at Target and Walmart and stuff like that. But, you know, my kids, so we also are huge hairband fans. And so we had the kids in like the hairband t-shirts and
Love
stuff
that.
like that. Yeah.
Love that. Yeah.
But our rule was, if you wear the t-shirt, you have to be able to say, like, if somebody played a song, you have to be able to say, like, that's this band or whatever. You have to at least know a song that they play, right?
Yeah.
So if you're
that's Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah. If you're wearing a Nirvana t-shirt, you better know that there's one of the Nirvana songs.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
I love seeing parents come to our show with their kids.
Oh, yeah.
Like we get a book for a lot of festivals because they've seen us draw in the kids. And yeah, I throw out pogs and butterfly clips, and that's
you bribe the kids, you know.
All right, parenting thing. If you've ever stepped on a Lego, that's nothing compared to stepping on a butterfly clip. Those things are daggers.
Oh my gosh. So with your kids, Lizzie, I mean, how do you think that they, you know, we talked about like being an example and empowering and being there and being supportive. Like, what do you think it's meant to them to be able to go watch their mom on stage and really see you up there?
It's so normalized for them. I think it's just life. I've been pregnant both times I've been in bands while being pregnant. One was with an 80s band, one was with a 90s band. I'm always curious to see how their brains develop differently in the womb from different genres or different types of music. But they do love it. Maybe one day I'll become, you know, embarrassing to them. But right now it's like they can't wait to come to shows. If I got to go to practice, they go, oh, you're going to go do band? Can I go do band? Okay, go do band. And when they come to the summer shows that they're allowed into, they, like, when are you pulling me on stage? Like, this is an expectation. Right. So I'll bring them on stage, and they get to have that feeling of, you know, being up there and looking over a crowd, and they love it, and they love just dancing and singing. And now when we're driving in the car, and a song that we cover comes on the radio, you know, they call it. Like, you know, you make sure your kids can call the songs. They know which songs we cover. Yeah. Like, Mom, this is a band song. It's sweet. It's cute. I'm glad they're enjoying it now, and
you're also, like, you're showing them what it's like, you know, you hear, like, put your own oxygen mask on first, but you're showing them, like, hey, I have things that I'm interested in, that I'm passionate about, and I'm going to follow that, and I'm going to incorporate you into that life, but I have a life too. Like, I had a life before you, and I still have a life, and there's things that are, you know, I'm passionate about and that I'm going to follow. I think that's a good lesson.
Yeah, showing them confidence on stage is definitely important. My kids, I think, are pretty confident. I think, too, being a mom, you're constantly giving, and you're giving, and you're giving to your kids, and it's exhausting to constantly just be giving. So it's, you know, being a badass mom, all moms are badass because they're constantly giving like that, and being present and engaged, but it's also, I think, healthy to give to yourself every now and then and show them, you're a personality and identity to look up to.
You are your own person, and I think we've touched on this in previous episodes where it's like you have to put you first in order to be your best self for everybody else that you surround yourself with, your kids and your family and your friends. And so I think it's just a really good example for them where it's like, yeah, mom's doing her thing, right? Like, this is awesome. And, you know, for so many hours of the day, she's helping me do my thing, but this is her time. And I think they start to learn and really appreciate that and enjoy it.
It gives me confidence in myself too, which I then emanate for them to see when I've never run a business before, and I didn't really expect to have to run a business when I started a band. I thought it was going to be fun. But, you know, one requirement requires this, and okay, this city can't pay a person; they have to pay an incorporated company. I'm like, darn it! Now I got to incorporate, and then okay, now I'm incorporated. Now I got to pay corporate tax, and now I got to run payroll because the government's watching. I'm like, oh my god! And all of a sudden, I'm, you know, ahead of a business, official incorporated business, and that. It was hard at first, but now I'm more confident in my abilities and my strengths, and it emanates, and they see that, and now they can look up to that. And if they ever want to start a business, you know, I can help them. My mom, you know, runs her business, and I go to her for advice all the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I see myself hopefully being the same role to them.
And when you went to school, did you know you were going to pursue music, or did you, like, what made you decide to go to school? and get your degree?
I actually wanted to go into music business. I was like, that's probably more of a career than the small shot of making it big. So I did start working. I was in a management company, and I managed some bands, and I managed a giant symphony I had to put on international tour, and that was a lot of passports. But then I realized this is not what I want. Actually, I want to be on stage, not behind it.
Yeah.
So I needed a career shift, and so I then applied to business schools and got into DU and ended up in the marketing major. And that's where I found branding and marketing, and that's where that my creative can come out there.
Yeah.
And that's what I really love now, is being able to do the branding and marketing work for I think the 90s. And to me, it's second nature, because I'm a 90s kid. We do the slime splats and the squiggly lines and all the imagery. It's just basically old Nickelodeon. But I get my creative vibe there. And if I do go back in the bigger workforce, I'll feel fresh and confident I can do that stuff.
Do you ever have the desire to do that, or do you feel pretty solid and pretty grounded where you are right now, or like what do you have bigger aspirations? It's like kind of what's on tap next if you had.
I don't know. The family's stable, we're paying our bills, and I don't really need to go back to work. It would be sort of extra income for family fun stuff. Right now I'm comfortable. I like the balance. I like being home and engaged in my kids. I like, if an Amazon package comes, we're more interested in what we're going to do with the box, And like my son just makes box sports all day, because that's all we did when he grew up. And he loved it. So I like being present right now and being able to be there right now. And this being in a band is pretty doable, because practices are in the evening, shows usually on the weekend. And I can trade out, and he's very supportive and able to adjust his schedule. If I got to leave early for a load in, he makes it happen. So I have a good support system to make it possible, and
which is huge.
That's awesome. I mean, I love hearing that. We've talked about it before too, is like being able to be present with your children. My son is 6, so he's kind of in the same age range as your children, and it's so nice to be able to show up and be there for their field trips, or for just, the day-to-day activities that they have. And I feel, at times spoiled to be able to do that, where I know so many other moms don't have that luxury. So I try to, really hold on to it and take advantage of those moments. But it is one of those things that I continue to tell myself, they're only little once, right? And there's going to be a point where they don't want us around. And that's the time where it's like, all right, okay, cool.
How did you guys, obviously we just in 2020 things just totally shut down, especially for stuff like live music. How did you handle that whole situation? And are you back to normal? And talk about that.
The band wise, obviously the band shut down. We weren't performing. We were pretty strict about it. But again, I'm not just a musician. I want to look at the business as a full product. It's the product is nostalgia. How can I keep that going? So I started hosting 90s trivia on Facebook Live.
Oh, I love it.
I made a set behind me and lighting, and I just invited and I marketed it, and people logged on, and I would just have a bunch of trivia questions, and you would answer in the comments. And I went back later and I saw who answered first, and we're winners. And then I let people also gab in the comment section about that topic. So I showed them a Furby. I'm like, what was this toy called?
Yeah.
And then someone would say Furby. And then they talk about their Furbies for a minute. It really just, cultivated, again, the memory of their childhood. And I'm like, that's what my business bigger picture, I think, really is that whole, that warm heart feeling of my childhood,
Yeah.
So we did that. And then over COVID, it was actually, I don't want to say enjoyable, because it was a very bad time for a lot of people, but it was, my husband was working from home. He was more present.
Yeah.
The kids can, run up and say hi to him anytime they want. Or if we made a craft, they could go show him right away.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of Amazon packages.
A lot of box building.
I started my son and I actually, he was watching a lot of YouTube shows. These father-son just show series that they make and post on YouTube. And I'm like, well, why don't we start our own channel? So we started Dexplosion TV.
Nice.
And I got, a GoPro and a mic, and we would, we did some toy reviews,
I
and
love it.
we rented a water slide one time, and I just edited video of that. So if you want to go on YouTube, it's Explosion TV, and it's out there. And
do you still do it? Do you still?
I do it more now for family vacations, not as much as like I'm gonna buy a toy and review it. But like one time we got those box of edible crickets, and we like ate bugs. And we tried to explain what it tasted like, and he's like really little at this point, and he's super cute. He's just downing them like these are great.
Oh my god!
I'm getting like a cricket leg.
Oh gosh. I love it. I mean, YouTube is one of those things that it's like I am, my son loves to watch like other kids playing like Minecraft or like he just like he loves simple. That. And it's, it's amazing to me how like they do learn. There is a lot of very educational things, but they also like I feel like there is some good to see them seeing other kids producing stuff, right? It like kind of like excites them about like, wow, can I do this? And I think YouTube has really kind of pointed out that everybody can do anything really and put it online, and hopefully most of it's educational or beneficial or just funny. But I think that's awesome. And what a good bonding experience for you guys to have that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Now for doing family vacations too, like photos are great, but seeing and hearing yourself talk at the age of 4 and 7.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really nice to have that.
I know. I love the thought that it will always be there, so you can go back and watch it.
I mean, 90s, we only had America's Funniest Home Videos to kind of...
Which my son loves now. Actually, he watches it. It's out there. It's back on, and he loves that show. And it's so funny because I'm like, yeah, that's really all that we had that was like live, funny, just bloopers back then.
People hurting themselves will always be funny. I'm just it will always be entertaining.
I will say, though...
But I'm laughing. It's not funny.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I will say, though, I am kind of glad there wasn't any YouTube back when I was like 16, 17, 18.
Totally.
You say it'll always be around now. I'm kind of glad that stuff isn't always around from back in my childhood.
Right.
Well, if we had Facebook, then I probably should sift through that.
Right.
Clean it up.
Take some down, like that was my... That shouldn't have been up there.
Sometimes it's like memories, and I'll see what I posted, however long ago, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, why did I do that?
Yeah. I didn't even think about it, but I probably could clean it up at this point.
But, it's crazy now. We have to teach our kids not to do that. We have to teach our kids online safety now, and that's such a scary world. But it's present. You can't really avoid it. And you just got to hope you can guide them the right way.
The one thing that I kind of thought of because I was talking to the kids about that, because I have older ones. I have a 21 and a 17-year-old. And, you think about the stuff that they post and you're like, oh my God, you're never going to get a job. But the reality is like, and they don't post anything bad, but you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of information out there about all these kids, right? But they're all in the same boat. So they're, it's not as like was thinking about it like you're the only one doing this, and then when you realize like they're in good company, so
all the kids are out there doing stupid shit, so it's okay.
Totally. And I'm not going to be president, so I don't really. Nikki Sixx posts something out of line. It's kind of expected in that genre, but I think that's interesting. All the kids in the same boat, and I think for moms, having each other is probably the biggest advice I would give to another mom is have your circle of other moms going through the same thing. Because especially little kids can be really exhausting, and you think it's only you. Like you thought your son's only him. You think it's only my kid is this crazy. And then you talk to other moms and you're like, oh no, this is all crazy.
Yeah.
I actually bought a calendar. I can't see it, but it's called Parenthood, the craziest hood you'll ever go through.
I like that.
Every month it's got like a different thing about being a parent, and every month I'm like, oh, so it's not just me. I can read you some of them if you want to hear them. The only thing kids wear out faster than shoes is their parents. Another one is we can't all look good at the same time. It's either me, the kids, or the house.
Right.
I finally got 8 hours of sleep. It took me 4 days.
Oh, nice. Nice. I love that.
The fastest land mammal is a toddler who's been asked, what's in your mouth? That's my favorite. Communicating with a toddler is like trying to explain what color the number 4 smells like.
Yeah, totally.
So it's just like, I read these things, I'm like, okay.
It's okay.
It's not just me. It's all crazy. And we'll get through it together. And having that sort of circle of moms, like you guys are laughing, but like, that's what turns the stress into now humor. And it's like, now it's survivable because we're all kind of just laughing now and we're changing that chemical in our brain from stress to
or terror. Yeah. There's one yesterday we saw something that said, I want to be a good parent. I just feel like I'm going to need some different kids.
Oh, I like that one.
I was like, that is awesome.
Well, that's good. That kind of brings us to like, Lizzie, what would your best parenting advice that you have to give or that you've ever been told?
It's hard to take advice because every kid's so different. Like, even between your own kids, they're going to be so different. And what's worked for you is probably not going to work for mine. And it's okay. Figure it out. But so it's hard to take advice, and it's hard to give advice for the same reason, you know?
Yeah, because they're all different.
So I think the only advice, kind of what I just said, is find your little mom circle and kind of to gripe with together to kind of keep you all sane and change that brain chemical from stress to humor, and just you'll get through it together and you'll all have each other's backs. You know, I'm really lucky. My circle, my block of moms are just so tight, and we look out for each other and we help each other out, and we, you know, crack jokes together about our kids. So, and it helps you get through it.
No, I think that's great advice. I mean, I definitely agree. I think when you have those other people that can relate to your scenarios and you can all just kind of turn that frustration into laughter, it's so much more tolerable at times.
Yeah, they get you. They get what you're going through. And I'm like, tell my husband, I'm like, you get to go. We both have jobs.
Right.
Your mom job, your work job, your job, you talk to rational people. And, there's structure and respect. And like, my bosses just spilled milk all over the floor and
don't give a shit.
So it's a different level.
Yeah, I love that's so true.
You'll have those moms too. Like, I mean, one of the things that, and Lori knows this, but my neighborhood, when we first moved in, it was a new build and there were only 2 blocks and there were 12 little girls under the age of 2 when we moved in.
Wow.
And so all these kids have grown up together and they're basically family. Like, they know each other inside and out. Right. And all the moms were all still super close. So, I mean, you'll have that for however long you choose to have that, but it's been a huge support in all phases of life.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I think with advice too, you're going to have the criticizers. Those are really hard to handle because they think you're not parenting right or you're doing something wrong, and really you're doing whatever you think is right for your kids. But it still hurts and it gets in your head. So I've heard somewhere, don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't ask advice.
Totally. Yeah.
So that one kind of like really reality checked me. I'm like, why am I letting this person bug me when I think they suck at what they're doing?
Right. That's not just for parenting. That's any like aspect of life, right? Like, don't take financial advice from somebody who's not financially stable.
Exactly. And I was like, this is so obvious. Why didn't I think of it? Why did I let it get to me? I'm like, this is so obvious. Now I don't care because you're not doing well at it.
So we talk about advice. Obviously, it's hard to give. It's hard to take. But if you could look back on your younger self, is there anything that you would kind of, I would say do differently, but kind of prep yourself in a different way for your journey that was ahead, or anything that could make your life a little easier back in the day?
I look back at like my original band and I'm like, I could have done this and this better, but it's all stuff that I learned now.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have been able to manage it then or knew how to handle it then. You know, I'm trying to become a rock star while also going to Stanford and graduating. My time was a little split. But, you know, I don't think I would change anything because everything I did got me to where I am now and where I'm happy. So I met my husband doing that original band. So I think, you know, I wouldn't have changed anything because I might not have met my husband and might not have been where I am now and having the 2 kids that I have. So, you know, I think... Don't regret anything.
Don't regret. I like that.
No regrets. Don't regret anything you've done, because even if it's bad, you know, it's built you up to where you are now. So
yeah, for sure.
Totally.
Okay, totally like a different topic, but what's your favorite band? Do you have one? It's like asking your favorite kid, right?
I know.
Depends on the day, right?
Yeah. You know what? It changes so often, right? What you're into that week, and then you burn out and you go to someone else. But I think what band might have influenced me the most growing up is probably Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Just that show and that stage confidence, and I was like super obsessed with like Nikki Sixx and stuff.
Yeah.
But he now is still, I mean, he's got podcasts and he's got his radio shows.
Yeah.
And he kind of lives his lifestyle and made his own brand for himself. And I don't know many bassists that are as famous as him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Motley Crue and like that music got me into, you know, I got a flying V and I tried to be hardcore badass and confident, and you know, because of him, I wanted to play the Whiskey Go-Go on Sunset Strip, and you know what, I did.
That's awesome.
I pushed through, and I did, and I was like, man, I'm on stage, the same stage as he was, and it kind of motivated me to keep going and push forward. So, yeah, like I said, I think if you saw me perform, I think you'll see a little bit of that, you know, hardcore inspiration from that kind of genre, and like I'll do the kicks and the I actually got my hair cut by the same guy he does.
Oh, really?
He's amazing. His name's Razor, and he's amazing. But I had like the short, chopped. If I wore it just flat, it would look like a mullet. But I would tease it up, and I would be big in like 80s hairband. Yeah. And I still try to cut my hair like that. I do it by myself now, but I just have to. But yeah, I would say that Motley Crue is probably the most influential in the direction I went, and the confidence that I have on stage is just kind of by watching them.
So have you ever hurt yourself on stage from all the jumping and kicking? And
I know, I was like, did you pull a hammy?
Have you ever injured yourself as we get older? I mean, that becomes a concern. Like you fall down.
Damage. In the girl band, we would wear, you know, high heels and corsets and kind of not jump conducive outfits. And my feet are kind of jacked up from it. I don't regret it because it looks good. I've definitely, you know, bruised some knees, you know, trying to slide, and I want to say if I ever like fell off stage. I don't think I have. I definitely like tried to swing my mic, and the mic's like pulled off the cord, or I could have like clocked someone in the crowd with it. I don't know. I think adrenaline kind of mutes all pain when you're on stage.
Yeah.
So yeah, the adrenaline kind of numbs you to anything. If I did hurt myself.
So, what about favorite 90s song?
I don't want to say this one. I don't know. It's this one you probably forgot you knew. It was called Tub Thumpin'.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's the one that comes on and everyone hears that opening. And they're like, oh, my God, I have not listened to this song. But I know every word.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to sing and just fun. And I always kind of gravitate to that as my favorite 90s songs, just because I like how the crowd reacts to it.
That's cool.
I love music. I mean, I'm a huge music fan, and thank God, like my dad was big into music, and we grew up just appreciating all different genres, and my family is still very much like that. And my husband's way into concerts, but what I love about it, and that's why I love 80s hair band so much, is because it takes me right back to those moments in time. Like, it just makes you feel like no time has passed. And I'm still like young and carefree and have no responsibilities. And I don't know, there's just something about it that's just like, you mentioned the nostalgia. So people want that. They want to go back to those
they want to go back in time, right? Like they want to be able to just like remember, and each song, I mean, I'm sure you ladies agree, like takes you back to a moment in time, like when you were in high school or whenever it was, and you're like, I remember when. And I think that's
watching Poison at Red Rocks and trying to get up to the front, you know. I mean, like, it's just like all those cool moments. But so you're giving everybody this gift of nostalgia, which is awesome.
I have to hopefully keep doing it right, you know.
I love it.
So this Halloween weekend, we're playing down in, the band's called Nothing But 90s, and we're playing down in Colorado Springs, like northern Colorado Springs. So it's not actually that far, but it's the Boot Barn Hall. And it's kind of a 90s Halloween. Oh. So you think, what's 90s Halloween? Oh, let me remind you. Hocus Pocus. Before Christmas. Scream. Addams Family. Like, and all of a sudden, you're like, there was an awesome 90s Halloween. But then people come dressed as in 90s Halloween costumes, and last year's was just the most epic costumes I've seen. There was a Xena and the mask. There was a Tamagotchi. There was the second place winners of the contest were Blockbuster Video employees.
Oh my gosh.
And the first place winner was Nancy Kerrigan.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
And she looked just like her. It was amazing. So it should be a really fun time. So if anyone wants to get away and relive their childhood on Halloween, just come on
Is
down.
it the 28th?
Yeah, so Saturday the 28th.
Okay, perfect.
But if you don't want to go that far, then we're playing in...
You're playing in Louisville, right?
Yeah, in Louisville. Yeah. It's a Louisville Underground. It's a really cool, smaller venue, kind of intimate, November 18th.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then how can people follow you and stay up to date?
Yeah, the website's nothingbut90sband.com, all spelled out. Then our main social media is Facebook. That's the one I keep most up to date.
Okay.
And then you just find us, type in Nothing But 90s, and we're right there. I mean, I feel old because I'm not so up to date on all the social medias. My Instagram's kind of sparse, but that's about the most that I know how to keep up with.
Yeah.
So if people want to book you for an event, they can do that through your website or,
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
And do you guys are basically local to the kind of Denver area?
We are mainly local. We'll cruise out for certain events, but I think the next step for our band, we've reached success for being a local band. But our next step would be touring and traveling. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm a mom. I can't do that.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of happy where we're at. So,
That's awesome.
we just be the best we can be here for the people of Denver and Colorado. And
You get to do what you love.
Yeah, and then I think, what are you most excited about? From being a mom to your band, what really just keeps you going every single day?
I remember telling myself when I had my son, I want to make my son laugh. And I try not to forget that. Make it a conscious effort just to make him laugh.
Oh.
And it kind of grounds me. It is day to day. You're getting through all this. It's also show to show. I get nervous before every show, and I get excited and anxious, and then the adrenaline hits, and I end it going, "That was great." So it's show to show to show. There's no big picture. After that, you just kind of get from one to the next. Same with being a parent; you get from one day to the next.
Yeah.
And then kids are gonna have huge successes, and then there'll be the big show bookings that'll be big successes. And
Yeah.
And then, but you know what? The next day, you're back to day to day. You're right back to survive today, get to tomorrow.
Well, Lizzie, you have such an amazing story. I mean, I wish I would have, been, I guess, capable of being in a rock band. I never felt like I was a singer or I was any good at musical instruments, but I've always loved going to shows and watching people that can go up on stage and really just share that enthusiasm and fun and just like Jenny said, that just feel good spirit. So it's been really an exciting, journey that you've gone through, and being able to, hear about how you've balanced it all with being a mom and a wife and doing what you love. I think it's all it's awesome. It's good shit.
Well, thank you. Well, come to a show, bring your kids, and toss some pogs, and we'll dance, and you'll be like, "Oh, I remember this song," and then they'll be like, "I love the 90s now," and then you can
Who doesn't love the 90s? I mean, come on. I just love always saying I graduated in 1999, so I've got that song that I can always go
there you go. Is it a Prince one?
Love it. Well, thank you so much today, Lizzie. We really appreciate it, and looking forward to checking out a show.
Thanks for having me. I'm honored that you think I'm worthy of being a guest here, and to me it's become so normalized, and sometimes I need a reality check of what I'm doing.
Yeah, you're a badass mom.
Badass.
Totally.
I appreciate it.